banks of Lake Erie, Cleveland Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio, for this interconference battle between the 1-0 Buccaneers and the 0-1 Cleveland Browns. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Alongside Ron Pitts, I'm Thom Brennaman. Big win last week for the Buccaneers. We'll talk about their offense later, but they're talking a great deal right now down Tampa way about this defense.
Well, I'll tell you, Rusty Tillman came into town. He brought the 43 defense with him, but with that defense, they know they would need speed and quickness, and they got that in the draft. Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. Brooks is a around-the-corner speed rusher, pursuit guy who will really complement a Hardy Nickerson inside. Warren Sapp, so quick off the football. You talk about a guy that plays in the opponent's backfield. He's the guy. They haven't had that in a long time in Tampa Bay, and they're really excited about it.
It's going to be tough for him to get back there today. In Cleveland, they're talking Super Bowl, and why not when you have this kind of offensive line?
Vinny Testaverde looks so comfortable to me, and I think it's got to do with his offensive line. Last year, they gave up only 14 sacks. That was #1 in the NFL. The unique thing about them, they only got one draft pick. The rest of them are all free agents. But you know, Tom, it doesn't matter how you pick them or how you stack them. What matters is can they play, and these guys can play.
Well, Vinny Testaverde, the #1 pick by the Buccaneers back in 1987, and today he faces his former team for the first time in a regular season clash. When we come back, it'll be the Buccaneers and the Browns from Cleveland. Stay with us. We're back in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Stadium, a crowd of better than 65,000 on hand. Week 2 of the NFL season. Sam Weiss, a former coach at Cincinnati, battled many times here in this stadium. He went 10-6 during his tenure with the Bengals against Cleveland. Bill Belichick, meanwhile, in this his 5th season with Cleveland, 3 games under 500, but he took them to the playoffs last year. Cleveland has won the toss, selected to receive, and Michael Husted will kick it away for the Buccaneers. And waiting back for Cleveland, number 23, Ernest Hunter, and number 83, Michael Bates. Beautiful day here in Cleveland, Ohio, and we are underway. It'll be Hunter who juggled the ball from his own 1. And he's out across the 20 to the 22. And that's where he's tackled by Curtis Buckley. Vinny Testaverde, the first pick in the '87 draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had a fine game last week, throwing 2 touchdowns, hitting on 20 of 29. Up front, a terrific group, perhaps the best in the NFL, led by the #1 pick, Steve Everett, in the middle. In the backfield, a 2-back set this week of Biner and Horde rising over from Atlanta, joining Michael Jackson and Brian Kinchin, the tight end. The give is to Horde. And not much running room. He may have picked up 2. Ball came loose, but he was already ruled down on contact. On the Buccaneer defense, they registered 5 sacks last week of Randall Cunningham, the #1 picks Curry and Sapp. Linebacking core, the rookie Derek Brooks, Hardy Nickerson, the heart and soul of this Buccaneer defense, and Scarjo replacing the injured Martin Mayhew at the left corner position. 2 tight ends in the game, Kinchin and Frank Hartley. And again, back to the ground. Again, it's Horde. He's out across the 25 to the 27. It'll bring up 3rd and close to 5 for Cleveland.
The Browns' attack is going to be to just try to shove the ball down the throat of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Belichick is getting back, we think, to that old NFC style. You know, 1 loss. He's going back to his comfort zone, so to speak. And comfort for him is running the ball. But you can't forget about the 2 weapons he's got on the outside with Risen and Jackson.
3 receivers set, Jackson, Risen, and the second-year player out of Michigan, Derek Alexander. Testaverde, his first throw on a 3rd and 6. Great protection, now forced to run. He picks up the first down out across the 35 before Hardy Nickerson caught him from behind. And there's that Cleveland offensive line.
Tell you what, this is just a good job of protection, but it's a good job by Tampa Bay. They're going to run it 2 deep with 5 people underneath. And I want you to look at what Vinny is looking at. He doesn't have a clear place to throw the football. In fact, you don't even see a receiver in the screen, Tom. That's excellent coverage downfield. But that's also a good ad-lib by Vinny Testaverde.
Keenan McCardle in motion, back to the ground with Horde, and he picks up close to 5. Leroy Horde last week in the loss to New England, only 9 carries for 39 yards. Just had a tremendous season last year to earn him a spot in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and there's been a change a little bit in their lineup there with Reeves going down today. He had that back surgery in the offseason, and he had spasms all week long. They had to put him down, so that didn't affect their 2 tight end setup, which we had talked about all week long. They're still trying to mash the ball. Tampa's got to make sure that they don't get careless and understand that that thing can go downtown on them, too.
Testaverde drills it on the outside to Rison. The first down out to midfield. Crossing into Buccaneer territory to the 49. Rison only caught 2 balls in the loss against New England last weekend. That's his first catch today.
You know, here's some things that you can look for today from the Bucs. The no-huddle, that's going to give Trent Dilfer time to get comfortable and to prevent the substitutions. Tight ends and backs will be used more. Look for Jackie Harris to get involved in the games. The Browns offense, the 2 tight ends, we've already seen that. That's been effective. And the blitz on defense, they're going to come after him. Look for Pepper and Carl Banks to be in the backfield in Tampa Bay.
Ford hammered down after a gain of a yard, met head-on by Lonnie Martz. Oh, did he take a shot?
Boy, that's the advantage of having this 43. And here's a guy, Lonnie Martz. What did Sam say to us yesterday? 6:30 in the morning every single day. He's outside the office doing his drills, beating along that tackling dummy. You want to talk about a guy that wants to get better. A great compliment to Hardy Nickerson inside, as well as Derek Brooks, like we talked about in the show pregame.
Gain of only a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9 for Cleveland. And again, 3 receivers with McCardle in motion. This time the give is to Hunter out of the backfield. And he picks up nearly 4. Hardy Nickerson on the
thing
side.
you're going to see here is good man-to-man blocking with a pull here, and they're going to get a lane right through here. But it's all about man-to-man blocking. The linebackers are going to step up. A little over pursuit there by Hardy. But if they can get those guards out on the linebackers, they'll have success. That's the whole key, is getting the guards, getting the tackles, and getting something on Nickerson and the other linebackers.
Good protection. Thrown in the flat. Complete. Turn is Biner. Biner in his 12th season in the NFL, 7 with Cleveland, and he is still a solid player for these Browns.
Biner right here. He's just going to come out to the flat. This is a little bit of the West Coast offense. And Vinny's going to look downfield. Doesn't have anything. But I really think, Tom, this is where they want to go. This is the safe stuff right here. You're going to see the backs involved, the tight ends involved more on both sides of the football in the passing game.
Cleveland on the move. It's opening drive. Horde tries to kick it out off of Tony Jones' block. And not much room there. Maybe picked up 3. Going to bring up a 2nd and 7. 9:35 to go here in the first quarter. No score. Cleveland took the opening kickoff. Brought it out to the 23, and now well into Tampa Bay territory. The ball resting at the 36.
Hardy's kind of a little worried about how come he's not making as many tackles as he made last year. Well, they got another linebacker there for him. They got rid of that 4-2-5. He's got help now. He gets there just as the tackle's being made a lot of times.
And play of the drive. The pitch to Hunter. And he is stopped by Nickerson, along with number 72, Chidi Ahanatu. So another 3rd down for Cleveland.
Chidi bringing that down from the backside. A good chase. So you're going to see depth in the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's something they didn't have last year. I mean, you got the guys up front. You got Sapp and Curry and Wheeler. But there's going to be guys like Santana Dotson coming in and Matt McIntosh and Culpepper. And, you know, that's what the Dallas Cowboys had for all those years in the Super Bowl. They had depth and bringing in fresh guys that were on that offensive line.
Play clock nearly running out on the Browns on his 3rd and 7. Testaverde to Risen. And no flag on the play. Risen looking for an interference call, but defended well by Tony Stargell. Stargell again playing in place of the injured Martin Mayhew, who had a knee sprain in the win over Philadelphia last week.
Testaverde's going to look right to Andre the whole way and let it fly. Look at the middle of the field. If we can stop it, there's nobody in the middle of the field. Stargell's got no help. And it looked like he squeezed down on him kind of early. And, of course, he's in the wrong part of the field to even be questionable with a pass interference by that dog pound.
Now they're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the dog pound here today. Tom Tupa, the Ohio State Buckeye, tries to drop it inside the 10. It's back into the end zone. And Tampa Bay will put it in play at the 20. And a flag down on the field. So let's hold on a second. Would have been a 4th and 7. Well, we're still waiting on the verdict. The entire jury gathering to discuss this one.
Well, the preliminary call was a legal procedure against Cleveland.
Illegal formation by the offense. Number 51 was lined up in the back rear of the field with an ineligible number. The penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchback. First down.
Illegal formation. That's a form of an illegal procedure penalty.
All right, we're going to take a break. Tampa Bay will take over when we return to Cleveland Stadium.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. By United Airlines and its 55,000 employee owners. Come fly our friendly skies. By McDonald's. Have you had your break today? And by Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
Beautiful day in Cleveland. Tampa Bay gets the football for the first time after forcing Cleveland to punt. The blitz was coming, dumped off to Eric Rett out of the backfield, and he's close to a Tampa Bay first down. Pushed out of bounds by Eric Turner. Trent Dilfer, the 6th pick in the 94 draft, set career highs last week against Philadelphia in touchdown passes and passing yards. Tampa Bay will go with a no-huddle offense patented by their head coach, Sam Weiss. We'll talk more about the no-huddle as this game moves along. 2nd and 3. Short drop. Completion on the right sideline to number 88, Orange Copeland, who's coming off a huge game against Philadelphia. Talked about Dilfer, the 6th pick in 94 out of Fresno State. Up front, pretty solid group. They've allowed just 3 sacks in the last 7 regular season games. And in the backfield, Rett, a tremendous rookie year. Dave Moore, a former tight end, moved to fullback. Copeland in for the injured Alvin Harper along with Dawsey. And Jackie Harris is a Tampa Bay tight end. 1st and 10 on the ground to Rett. And he's across the 35 to the 36, a gain of nearly 4. Cleveland's defense last season allowed just 204 regular season points. Pleasant and Burnett on the ends with Footman and Goad inside. Terrific linebacking group, the veterans Banks and Johnson. And the secondary, maybe the best in the NFL. Langham and Griffin, the corners. Moore and the All-Pro Turner, the safety. Blitz coming. Dilfer drops it off to Harris. Shy of the first down. Wrestled down by Banks.
See, this is the advantage of the no-huddle. What they've done, they've got Cleveland in a situation where they can't get substitutions on the field. They got them stuck in this 34 and a 43 defense. Just a little quick pass to Harris in the middle. I mean, nothing big, no low percentage pass or anything like that. Very easy pass to complete. But the problem is Cleveland's got the wrong personnel in the field.
A 3rd and 2. And Rett close to the first down, defending on the spot he needed to get to nearly the 43. Footman and Burnett on the stop. And let's see if it's good enough for a Tampa Bay first down. Yes, it is.
Lowest man wins in this situation. I want you to watch the line of scrimmage move as the orange shirts come forward. It's good man-to-man blocking right there. McCray on Footman. That's what it's all about. That was the key block right there.
Harris, the tight end in motion, and again Rhett takes the handoff. He's out to the 47. Eric Rhett rushed for 85 yards last week against Philadelphia. Last season, the NFC's Offensive Rookie of the Year. And bear in mind, he didn't start until the final 8 games posting those numbers.
I'm just happy he got his pads back. Boy, after that training camp fiasco, playing with those pads since 10th grade, well, he was having conniptions over those things.
I would too, after coming off that kind of rookie year. Good protection, now in trouble, and nearly intercepted downfield, close to the 30. It appeared as though he was looking for Jackie Harris, the tight end, and Ron, that is where the Cleveland defense was hurt very badly last week against New England. The tight end Ben Coates.
Well, the thing that hurt him there is it was assignment football with zones, and they picked the Cleveland Browns zones apart. Now, I would expect Tampa Bay to do the same thing today. But they got to remember about last week and Horace Copeland going downtown. So that's in their mind, too.
Well, the play clock running down. And Dilfer will have to hurry to get it off on this 3rd and 7, and he has to spend the timeout. Sam Weiss will talk it over with his second-year quarterback. Back at Cleveland Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. No score with 4:38 to play in the first quarter. A 3rd and 7 coming up for the Buccaneers.
Well, finally, Cleveland was able to get the right personnel in the field thanks to that no huddle having to stop.
3 receivers set. 5 defensive backs have checked in for the Browns.
There's an example of it right there, being able to check out of it. Having plenty of time on the clock to make all your checks.
Browns showing blitz, and here they come. Dilfer up top, downfield, and overthrown. Lawrence Dawsey, as Dilfer was taken down after he turned it loose. Good coverage by Don Griffin.
Yeah, if you're going to try to throw the deep ball, that's not the side to throw it to. That's Don Griffin, 10th-year pro out of Middle Tennessee State. His technique's just too good. He's been in the league too long. He's not going to let somebody just run up the field on him. He got a good jam on the line and was able to make a good play. Plus, Dilfer didn't get anything on the ball. He's got to put that ball out there.
Keenan McCardle dropped back to his own 10 for the Reggie Roby punt. Low line drive, angling near the corner. And depending on the spot, this could be a terrific punt by Roby. Of course, he's been doing that now for 13 years. And they spotted it to 6. There have not been many any better than Reggie Roby. Well, we're back in Cleveland. Reggie Roby pinning the Browns offense well into its own territory, where Vinny Testaverde will try and get things going. Vinny hit on 2 of his first 3 passes for 17 yards.
Well, this offensive line, like we talked about at the top of the show, probably the 2nd best offensive line in the NFL next to the Cowboys, I would say. You look across the board, you're talking about 300-pounders, an average of 305 across the board to be exact.
On the ground, and to give us Ernest Hunter, and he is wrapped up by Mark Wheeler. Let's send it back to our Hollywood.
Thom and Ron.
All right, JB, 2nd down for the Cleveland Browns. 2nd and 10. Play fake. Testaverde swings it out to the tight end Hartley, and he has a first down for the Cleveland 18.
This is the bootleg. It's going to start to your left. Watch all the action of the offensive lineman. And now Testaverde's going to bring it out to the right. The key back here is you got to have backside discipline. Martz actually does a pretty good job of staying with his tight end considering the play action.
Short pickup there made by Ernest Hunter, who is playing quite a bit here in the early going. Mark Wheeler again on the tackle. And a 3-yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd and 7.
We're not seeing too much of Risen or Jackson. Jackson, of course, with that hurt ankle he got in the pregame. He's a question mark right now. This is the time you got to look for an Andre Rison.
McCardle in motion.
Curry's offside.
Complete to McCardle to the 35. And Eric Curry applying the pressure. But you mentioned, Ron, it looked like he got an early start. Well, Curry, the 6th player picked in the '93 draft, and they're waiting for him to come around.
By the defense, number 75. The penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
On the top of the screen, watch 99. He's going to get a 75. He's going to get a jump there just a little bit early.
First down handoff goes to Leroy Hoard, and he's out near the 40. A pickup of nearly 5. And you brought up earlier on the difference in weight comparing the Cleveland offensive line and the Tampa Bay very small defensive front.
Well, everybody's trying to get to the Eric Williams and the Nate Newtons of the league, you know, and the pushes to the 300-pounders up front to move people. And there's something to be said for that. And I think that's where Cleveland has gone with their offense. And today, that's where they're going with it. They're trying to run it down Tampa Bay's throat.
Second and 5. Testaverde walks it to Derek Alexander, who hangs on to make the grab to the 33. Alexander dropped a big ball in the closing seconds last week against New England. He dropped 2 passes in the playoff game against Pittsburgh last year.
This is Alexander right there. He's going in motion. He's going to work right up the seam. The problem is the linebackers for Tampa Bay don't get enough depth. When you're playing a cover 2, the safeties are splitting the field deep in half. The linebackers got to protect the middle of the field. Look at that. You can see Derek Brooks just hold off just a little bit. He loses his depth. He shuts down his feet, and that was the difference. Good throw by Testaverde, having to get that ball over the top of the defenders.
Hunter takes a handoff, and he's met immediately by number 56, Hardy Nickerson. Boy, what a throw indeed, Ron. That was by Testaverde. Just lofted over the defender beautifully. And Sam Weiss will tell you that Vinny Testaverde is as fine a pure passer as there is in the NFL.
Oh, well, Vinny's always been there. You know, and that's what he had coming out of college. Vinny's problem, and then knocking him, was that he couldn't stay in the pocket and be comfortable, no matter whether he had good protection or not. If you give Vinny Testaverde time, he's going to make the throws.
Vinny back for his 7th pass. Takes one way, comes back the other to Kenshin. Broke a tackle. He's to the 17. And a late flag comes in. Pushing and shoving going on. It looked like Ernest Biner. And a Tampa Bay defender on the far side of the field. Well, this could be a big break for Tampa Bay if Biner draws the flag. Ed Hockley, our referee, will fill us in on exactly what occurred on the far side of the field, well away from the action.
Well, I tell you, that was a great play. That's called, well, I can't say the name on TV, but it's called the old blank screen. They start off with one screen actually going to one side of the field and have another screen, so it's 2 screens in the same play.
Side judge Laird Hayes talking things over with Ed Hockley, and we're still waiting on a decision. So too is Bill Belichick.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. During the action, there was an illegal block in the back by the offense, number 41. Number 21. After the play, there was a personal foul by the defense, number 47. The foul's offset. We'll replay the down. Second down.
Well, the ball would have been all the way down to the Tampa Bay 17. Instead, they'll bring it back to the 32.
That's a big break for Sam Weiss. I want you to watch Kitchen. He's right here. He's going to leak out to this side as well as a bunch of offensive linemen, but you're going to have two screens on both sides. The fake screen right there, the quick throw, and now comes the screen here. And if you look at the room Kitchen has, I mean, he's just got all kind of field to run in. That's a hard play to defend, especially when you set it up with those quick throws out to the back, and then you come back with that play.
So we'll take a break here in Cleveland, the end of the first quarter. Scoreless, the Browns and the Buccaneers. We'll be right back. So we're back in Cleveland. Tampa Bay and the Browns, a scoreless first quarter. Cleveland football at the Tampa Bay 32, and it'll be a 2nd down and 7 after the offsetting penalty.
Talking about that run right now, Cleveland, 12 runs, 6 passes. Very well defined what their game plan is.
Testaverde to throw. He finds McCardle, and he'll be tackled shy of the first down to the Tampa Bay 25. What if all your favorite stars from ball resting at the Tampa Bay 25? It'll be 3rd and a yard. 3 tight ends check in for the Browns. Dropped by Rison at the 15. And that throw is zipped in there by Testaverde.
Rison's got to catch that ball. He's coming in on a quick slant. It'll be at the top of your screen. They wait for the linebacker to clear, but I think he sees and he hears Everett coming down the pipe. Right there. That's going to be a collision. That ball's got to be caught. That's a good ball by Vinny Testaverde.
Well, Matt Stolbert, a team record, has hit 20 in a row. This one from 42 yards out of the hold of Tupa. And now make it 21 in a row. Officially a 43-yard field goal by Stolbert. That's his first field goal this season. He did not have a tip in the loss at New England last week. Second quarter at Cleveland Stadium, and the Browns on the board, leading 3-0. Cleveland a 3-0 lead on a 43-yard field goal by Matt Stolbert. Although Andre Rison, the key drop on a 3rd and a yard. At the 15, you see the scoring drive, 69 yards. And the offsetting penalty took away.
Oh, that cost 7 points right there. And I think you got to give some credit to Tampa Bay's defense from last week. Some big hits. Maybe people don't want to catch the football.
Bobby Joe Edmonds, just a remarkable story. And he receives the kickoff. Slammed to the ground at the 16, where he's met by Louis Riddick. Wow, did he lay the shot on Edmonds. So we'll take a commercial break. Tampa Bay takes over offensively deep in its own territory.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by American Honda, celebrating their 25th anniversary of selling cars in America. By Lay's and Wavy Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat just one. By Heineken, the #1 selling imported beer. Heineken, just being the best is enough. And by the U.S. Navy. You and the Navy, full speed ahead.
Today's overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp, Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls, our friend Captain Charles Russell from Downey, California, on a gorgeous day. Along the Lake Erie front, a 3-0 Browns lead. Tampa Bay football from its own 17. Eric Brett, a big hole on the right side, cuts it back up to the 27. And how about the hit a moment ago by Riddick after Bobby Joe Edmonds took the kickoff? So Ron Pitch, you want to go back and play against?
I don't think so. So much for the helmet-to-helmet laws and rules, huh? Well, I'd say that's a good hit. Louis Riddick, younger brother of Rob Riddick, who played with the Buffalo Bills.
Great work by our audio crew. Red enough for the first down on the 2nd and 1 carry. Out to the 30.
It's funny how both teams now starting to settle into a running game. And, you know, people forget the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run the football very well. Rhett over 1,000 yards last year. And really, I got to look at that and count it as a half a season. He didn't get the starting nod till well into it. So they do have the ability to run the football, especially on that left side with Gruber and McCray.
See Cleveland dominating time of possession, but that was the case for the Buccaneers last week. Philadelphia led in every category except points overthrown. At the 40-yard line, Ty J. Armstrong, the tight end, the intended receiver. Talk about a big man, Ty J. Armstrong. 6'4", 277. Fourth-year player out of Mississippi.
You'll never guess how he got his name Ty J. His mother loved the cologne that was named Ty J. So why not name your son Ty J?
Why not?
Works for me.
2nd and 10 for Dilfer and the Bucs, trailing 3-0. Goes down. Penalty flag on the field. Dilfer sacked back to his own 18. And leading the charge, Pepper Johnson, the Ohio State Buckeye, in this his 10th season.
Well, we talked about the linebackers and the blitz being an instrumental part of this Cleveland defense today, testing out. We got a holding call against the Bucs, testing out a young Trent Dilfer to see if he is really ready for big time. I want you to watch the pressure he's going to get. Check out right in front of you, 52, Pepper Johnson. He's going to come on a delay blitz. And that's the problem. Dill has so much trouble inside with Burnett. And then the pressure from the outside, that's Pleasant. Footman's in there. That's just a complete collapse from the Tampa Bay Bucs offensive line. But that'll happen when they bring them linebackers. You can't account for that extra man.
Dilfer on a 3rd and 20. Steps up, looks downfield, has a man, and the pass underthrown.
Boy, I tell you, Don Griffin's going to get away with a nice push in the back. And the only way he can get away with it is he's looking at the quarterback. Good job on the ad-lib. Here comes the backers. The pressure holds up. The offensive line holds up well. And you got another hold on that side with Gruber, but he comes out and scrambles, doesn't get a lot on the throw. But look at Griffin on the outside there with the push on the outside shoulder. And Dana Hall coming in to make a tackle, make the play. That's a good play by Dana Hall. Cover ground.
Snap. Roby drilled at the 5. And Cleveland has the football. Gerald Dixon picks it up. It was a poor snap by Ed Brady.
They practice these low snaps as we look at Thompson coming in. But Reggie Roby's got to make a decision. He's got to understand where these people are. He's got to know that if he bobbles a snap in that area of the field, he's not going to have time to pick it up and get it off. He's just got to hit the ground. And lucky they didn't bring that ball in and score. But the fault there, that's a bad snap by Brady.
Well, to be 1st and goal for the Browns inside the Tampa Bay 5. Roby shaking up on the play. And boy, oh boy, did he take a lick.
Yeah, Thompson got him right. That's helmet to helmet. Punters aren't used to taking that kind of contact right there.
Benny Thompson, Pro Bowl alternate, special teamer last season. Lorenzo White, his first carry. And he's about a foot short.
mean, first of all, look at the alley right there. The hole, that's a complete breakdown in their punt protection. I mean, you know, the snap is one thing, but when you got a hole that big for a guy to run through, there's a problem somewhere.
That is the first bad snap by Ed Brady since he joined the Buccaneers 4 years ago. Again, it's White. And again, met head-on at the line of scrimmage.
As he has the advantage of having some tough guys down in front. You talk about a Warren Sapp and a Mark Wheeler and a Chidi Hanatu down inside. Those guys can stop it up. And you got Hardy Nickerson there. Watch Nickerson. He's deep in the end zone. He wants to get a good read. They don't get out on Nickerson all the way, and he's able to get a helmet on there. Plump Brooks comes from the other side. But it all started up front. They were able to get the Cleveland Browns on the ground so the linebackers can come over the top.
Third and goal. Play fake. Testaverde looking for a receiver. Throw. No! He was out of bounds when Hartley made the catch. So on first and goal from inside the 5, the Browns cannot punch it in.
The play action is going to go one way. And Hartley is going to try to sneak out behind everybody. But you can see right there, Vinny's motion to come back. And that's a good catch, but he didn't get his feet down. He landed on his hips out of bounds, and the feet were up in the air. You know, a leg counts if you get it down. A knee counts as 2 feet. But your rear end out of bounds doesn't count for anything.
Holding fake. And Tupa dives in for the touchdown. There is a penalty flag on the field, so let's hold on. It could be holding against Cleveland. Boy, Tampa Bay catching every break in the book right now.
Well, Tupa last year was pretty much the two-point king. He was the first guy to score 2-point in the National Football League. And right now they're talking about it, and you got to understand, he's also a quarterback. And what a great call by Belichick. Nobody in the stadium had any idea that they might try to do that.
Well, more times than not, Ryan, you well know. You can only try that once a game and pull it off.
When we say 2-point, I mean, you know, he's used to lining up in that position and going for the touchdown or the 2-point.
It is indeed against Cleveland. Well, Tampa Bay on the poor snap to Reggie Roby turned it over.
By the offense. Number 70 had reported to an ineligible position the prior play and is not allowed to then return to an ineligible position. Once he reports eligible, he cannot play the next play ineligible. Therefore, it's an illegal formation, a 5-yard penalty.
Herman Harvey came in, reported himself as eligible. The next play, he tried to play as ineligible without informing the referee. So therefore, he was still eligible. And there's the play there. Demery, he realized at the last minute that it's a good thing for that illegal formation because that play is in. I mean, that's a touchdown.
Well, this certainly takes some wind out of the Cleveland sails, so to speak. First and goal inside the 5. Couldn't get it in on the first 3 downs. Then the fake field goal. Tupa diving in for an apparent touchdown, but it's whistled back. So now Stover, you figure, will try the field goal, although you brought up earlier, Tupa is a former quarterback.
Well, yeah, it's definitely field goal time now, but this says a lot for the Bucs defense. A year ago, they folded inside the 20 like this, but they held the Browns out. That is key in this game.
24 yards, and Stover is hit his second today, 22nd in a row, carrying over from last year. But despite dominating the first quarter and a half, Cleveland only has a 6-point lead. Get a look at the city of Cleveland and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Took 2 years to build and acquire all the artifacts in the museum. Cost $92 million to construct it. 150,000 square feet. And there are currently 123 inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ron Pitts is not one of them.
If you heard me sing, you'd know why.
I hear you. Bobby Joe Edmonds waiting deep for the Buccaneers. And he'll take the Stover kickoff into the end zone and bring it out. And he only got to the 17. Benny Thompson down to make the tackle. That guy is everywhere.
Tell you what, you want to talk about a special teams player. When you come down on this kickoff, you got to know people are coming for your head. You got to be able to pick your way through traffic. But you know, you got to make a better block on a guy. Moore right there, he just kind of pushes him aside. When people know you got a reputation for coming down hard, they don't want to block you. And he's earned that reputation.
Cleveland, a 6-0 lead, and Gilbert, what a catch made by Eric Redd out of the backfield. He's out to the 16. They have lost a yard or two. Well, Eric Redd will tell you that he can catch a football as well as he can run it. He was an outstanding receiver during his days at the University of Florida.
You know, going back to that story we talked about earlier, his shoulder pads got stolen at training camp down in Tampa Bay this summer. He offered a $1,000 reward for the return. They got returned, but he said, hey, nobody wants those pads. They smell so bad. They stink up your trunk or your closet or wherever you got it anyway. So just give them back to them.
2nd and 11. Rett the handoff and no room to run. Pepper Johnson there on the tackle along with Caldwell. Let's send it back to JB in Hollywood.
JB's right about that. That hot dog almost cost him.
Sure did.
Boy, don't throttle it down too soon.
Ellison is checked into the Tampa Bay backfield on this 3rd and 11. Gilbert looking downfield, complete, and it's good enough for a first down to Lamar Thomas, who was inactive last week. He had 7 receptions and 94, third-year receiver out of Miami.
Boy, Pepper Johnson's got to be wondering, what do I got to do? The linebackers, it's 5 deep, 5 across. They're just sitting and reading. He gets separation on Pepper, but Pepper's got to make the tackle right there. He slips down. That's the difference, because that ball was in front of the first down marker. He makes the tackle. They're off the field.
Blitz coming again on Dilfer. Dumps it off complete to the tight end, Jackie Harris. And he's tackled from behind by Eric Turner, the All-Pro free safety of the Cleveland Browns.
The Bucs are taking a page out of New England from last week, I think. Short passes controlled. Drew Bledsoe did that all game long, just over the middle, just enough to complete it, get the hands in the, get them to the tight end or the running back and let them run with the ball. But that's the kind of stuff that New England did all week long against the Browns and had success with it.
Harris in motion on the 2nd and 5. The pitch to Rett. Looking for daylight. And pushed out of bounds on the far side by Don Griffin. He'll be shy of the first down. It'll bring up 3rd and less than 3 for the Buccaneers.
Say it, this is a different Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. They do not rest, and they do not play things conservative anymore on offense. It's run, it's pass, it's the no huddle, which I think is great for Trent Dilfer because it gives him time to look at the defense, make changes. Well, that conservative stuff is out the window. They're trying to move the ball up the field now.
Broke a tackle. He just shoved aside Mike Caldwell, the outside linebacker, and raced for the first down out close to midfield, although a penalty flag is on at about the 45 on the far side.
A good job of blocking on the left side, but 56 Caldwell for the Browns. He should have Rett right here, but look at the stiff arm. That's the strength of an Eric Rett. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 5'11", 211, basically kind of small for NFL standards for running back.
Oh, the 15-yard face mask penalty.
Meaning that it was intentional, flagrant variety like they call it. And Caldwell, I mean, here's a guy, he had a chance. Not only did he miss the tackle, but you miss the tackle and you get a flagrant face mask, which is another 15 yards. You see it right here, but the thing about it is look who's putting their hand on the face mask. Rhett has his face mask, but they don't call that.
First down at the Cleveland 36. Play fake. Gilbert looking downfield to the end zone. Puts it up top. Through the hands of the intended receiver, Courtney Hawkins.
Great play action that time. They came with a fake cutback play, the handoff to Rhett, and they throw it downtown, but the defense was perfect. Great coverage. The safeties, watch the two safeties deep in the field. Look at the play action there. Look at his line of sight. He's got complete view of the whole field and all kind of time to throw it. But Turner and Moore, they stay exactly where they got to be. That's really not a, but you know, he gets a hand on the football. He should have caught that football.
Second and 10. Cleveland leading 6-0 here in the second quarter. Rhett breaks it outside, back to the inside, and he's to the 31. Antonio Langham, the second-year cornerback out of Alabama, able to stop Rhett after a very short gain. It'll bring up another third down, 3rd and 6.
Well, Pepper Johnson coming up there filling with Ian Beckles, making that play bounce to the outside. And that's the key. They want to take that ball inside. And that's the thing about Eric Rhett. He's strong inside for his size. For 200 pounds, the guy runs inside very well.
Oakland in motion. The play whistled before it got started. Let's see if there was early movement.
Delay of game by the offense, the 5-yard penalty.
Took too long to get going.
No huddle. It bites him that time. A little bit too long. And Sam plays the game. He looked at the defense to see if they're going to substitute. And what happened there, they brought the subs on late. So therefore, the call got to Dilfer late. That won't happen very often in Sam's offense, but every now and then it will. And the thing about that penalty, that kind of pushes him out of field goal range. That's why that's bad. Now I think you gotta think about getting yourself making a play that will put you somewhere back in the field goal range, something relatively conservative.
3rd and 11. They need to get down to the 26-yard line to pick up the first down. And Gilbert back to throw. Caught by Harris. First down inside the 20. Turner and Hall in on the tackle, and there's the tight end again against this Cleveland defense.
Boy, Jackie Harris now paying off. Came here last year as a free agent from Green Bay. Only 2 catches last week. They said he would do more. He's just going to work and find a hole in the zone. And the hole is right there. The backer can't get over soon enough. Excellent call. High percentage throw right in the middle of the field. So if he doesn't make the first down, you got a good shot at a field goal.
18-yard gain on the 3rd and 11. 10th play of the Buccaneers drive. Rhett dragged down by Rich McKenzie after his short pickup. Well, we'd like to tell you next week, it's Fox NFL Sunday. Rick Rhett, 10 rushes for 40 yards. A 2nd and 8 at the Cleveland 17. Blitz coming, picked up well. And slightly overthrown. The intended receiver, Courtney Hawkins.
They got a flag down. That sounds like holding. It's against Cleveland. It's funny, Tom, if you listen and you look at Cleveland's defense, they will try to listen.
Illegal hands to the face by the defense, number 90. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Yeah, that's Burnett with the hands to the face. Some frustration there not being able to get to the quarterback. He's right here, number 90, second man in. He's going to get the hands to the face right there. And I've seen a lot worse than that. I mean, I don't know. It takes a lot of guts to make that call.
1st and 10 at the Cleveland 12. An impressive Tampa Bay drive. The handoff. Derek Rhett He maybe gained a yard. Tim Goad, the free agent from New England, there to stop it.
You got to understand, if you're going to try to make a play, if you're going to try to run the ball against Cleveland inside, it's going to be a long day. You got 4 down linemen, and Pepper and Banks, they step up and fill with the best of them. Their best bet in what they've been doing is throwing against them underneath, making them try to play pass.
Cuts it back. He's close to the 5.
Great cutback, and this is what you do to a team that pursues so fast on defense. Watch the play start to the left, and then we're going to freeze it in a minute here, right here. Look at the lane he's got to run. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Third and 3 at the Cleveland 5. Browns in front, 3-0. Harris in motion, and that may draw a flag. No! The intended receiver, Dave Moore. Terrific coverage by Stevon Moore, the 7th-year strong safety out of Ole Miss.
That was a real dangerous pass. He's got the hand resting on the back of the shoulder pad, but they're not going to call that. What referees look for is hands. If they see 3 hands up instead of 4, they're going to call interference because they figure you're not playing the ball as a defender.
The holder, Casey Weldon, 22-yard field goal attempt by Michael Eustis, and it's blocked. Benny Thompson with a football, and Tampa Bay has failed to come away with points. It looked like Burnett may have been the man to get a hand on it.
Watch the right side of the line. Burnett gets up right there. That's on the left side. That's a breakdown in protection.
And that is the first blocked field goal attempt in the career of Michael Eustis. Get a look at Jacobs Field, the home of the American League Central Division champion Cleveland Indians. Full house on hand for the Tribe and the Baltimore Orioles today. Here at Cleveland Stadium, Bill Belichick's Browns, a 6-0 lead in the second quarter, 3:07 to play until halftime. Testaverde, play fake, rolls right. And just tosses the ball to Frank Hartley. And he has the first down out to the 33.
Here's the block. Look to the left. I want you to watch what happens to Paul Gruber, 74. At the last minute, he'll lose inside leverage. And 90 Burnett, that gives him just enough room to get himself up. I mean, you're talking about guys that are 280, 6'6". You know, it doesn't take much. They just got to jump a little bit.
Well, the flag was down on that last play. It appeared as though Testaverde had gone past the line of scrimmage. See it about the 20 when he flipped it.
There was no foul on the play. The ball was released. By rule, it was not beyond the line of scrimmage.
All right, well, we had the flag on the field, and they had to go back over that.
Look at Gruber there, the first rounder from 88. Well, I doubt their most consistent tackle throughout the years. But things happen. Stuff happens.
Clock rolling at 2:50 to play until halftime. Back to the ground. Leroy Horde is out to the 35. Stopped by Brad Culpepper. Clock still running at 2:40 until halftime. Our Aflac trivia question: who holds the NFL record for most rush attempts in a single season? Give you a minute or two to think about that.
Boy, this 43 defense of the Bucs is such a welcome system in Tampa Bay. That 4-2-5 with having only 2 linebackers and 5 DBs just not working. They got more speed all over the field. You can see it.
Testaverde to throw. Feels the heat. Gets away. And dumps it off to Leroy Hoyes. And he's out close to midfield to his own 47. Clock will stop, bringing us to the 2-minute warning. So we'll take a break. Good first half. A 6-0 Browns lead. Well, the answer to this week's half-black trivia question, former Tampa Bay running back who holds a single-season rushing mark for most attempts, James Wilder, 407 back in '84. The average a little better than 25 carries per game. And Eric Rett is on pace to try and catch that record by Wilder at 24.8 yards per carry.
Eric got the very fashionable nose Band-Aid going, or in this case, breathing apparatus.
Flag down. Testaverde the screen. Turn is Biner. Cuts back inside, and he's down to the Buccaneer 41.
That looked like Curry came upfield a little early that time.
Offside for the defense, right tackle. The penalty is declined. Brings up first down.
It was a gain of 12. Ball at the Buccaneer 41. 1:53 to go in the first half, and Cleveland leading 6-0. Before he could get to the sideline and stop the clock by Hardy Nickerson. And flags again on the field.
Great job by the Bucs of stringing it out, being strong on that left side. Good tackle by Stargell coming up, being forceful on the corner. Corners just don't have to cover it.
Illegal formation by the offense. Number 77 was the end man of the line of scrimmage with an ineligible number. 5-yard penalty, receive first down.
See, this is what happens when you're trying to do a lot. You're trying to bring in 2 tight ends, then you're bringing a tight end out. You're going to 3 wides, 1 back. All those different sets, they cause confusion even on your own team. And that's what's happening. You get a guy who's maybe back off the ball a little bit too much or not enough up on the line, and you got an illegal formation.
See the play selection by the Browns today. And they're obviously able to run the football a lot better today than they did last week in the loss at New England. Testaverde goes deep. Caught at the 6 by Derek Alexander. Clock running in 1:30, a 40-yard gain. Thomas Everett on the coverage. It's first and goal for the Browns. Touchdown, Cleveland. Keenan McCardle.
Boy, it almost looked like Dimmery just kind of gave up on that. Looked like he was playing his zone, but when he turned around, they threw the quick throw, and before he knew it, the ball was there. All McCardle had to do is just fall down. Now the discussion, what do you think? 2? They got to be going for 2. Unless Vinny's just pumping them up in there.
Tampa Bay, who had found a way to hold Cleveland to just 6 points through the first nearly 2 quarters, and then all of a sudden, wham, Vinny Testaverde, the former Buccaneer, a 40-yard strike to Derek Alexander, and then a touchdown pass to Keenan McCardle, and the 13-0 lead.
They're going to work on Dimmery on your right side. It's a pure zone. Everybody's kind of standing on the goal line, but I think Dimmery lost sight of him for a split second, and that was all it took. It was a hot pass. Good pass by Testaverde.
Rusty Tillman, the Tampa Bay defensive coordinator, watches as his team gives up a touchdown here in the final seconds, final minute of the first half, and now Cleveland will go for 2 with a 12-0 lead.
Now, they put that ball on the left hash for a reason. You got to look for him to work that right side of the field or play action to that side of the field and come back to the short side.
Rising in motion. And they were looking for him, but he wasn't turned around and looking back for the throw from Testaverde, so the 2-point conversion failed. And it's a 12-0 Cleveland lead.
So going back to the long pass that set up the touchdown, they got Thomas Everett one-on-one with Alexander. And for a split second, Everett loses contact with the ball. Right here, look at him. He was running down the field, and Alexander had already turned around. That was the difference in making that play. And Everett has got the speed, even though he's a free safety. He's got the speed, but when you're stopped like that, you don't have a chance to put on the brakes. I mean, he'd have to really drop the anchor, the flaps, put on the brakes, and come back and get up in the air and make the play. Good catch by Alexander. Alexander's a guy who's in a lot of hot water around here. After that drop last week, that probably could have got the Browns in field goal position. And then in the playoffs, he dropped a couple. It's nice for everybody around here to see him catch a ball.
Andre Rison said that he believed Eric Alexander would regain his confidence. He's made a couple of nice grabs here today. And that last one setting up the touchdown throw, Testaverde to McCardle. Well, still time at 1:14 for Tampa Bay to try and drive it down the field. Bobby Joe Edmonds, a big game in the victory over Philadelphia, has been very quiet today. This is an outstanding Cleveland special teams unit, and he'll just take it down on one knee. Well, coming up on the Dockers halftime, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Plus, Deion speaks out. Ham Oliver has a special interview with Deion Sanders. That's all coming up next on the Dockers halftime.
You know, I'm so glad it's finally over with. So now he can relax. We can relax. Everybody can relax.
Yeah, Deion can really relax.
Relax and go to the bank.
That's what I mean. And he can do it wherever he wants. Gilbert going to drop back and put it up. Escapes one tackle and another. And he'll just hang on to the football and be pushed out of bounds at the 28 by Antonio Langham.
See, Dilfer now, he's got a different look up front. We've just been informed that Scott Dill, he's out with a broken hand. T. Pearson, 69, is in his place, but the pocket collapses pretty quick. Footman on the nice arm over move, the swim move they call that. And now this is what Trent didn't do last year when he got in. All right, he threw that ball, made a dumb throw. Now he got out of the pocket. Now he's got to learn to get on the ground before he gets killed.
Well, Sam Weiss mentioned that Dilfer and he would get together every morning just past 8:30 and learn this complicated Tampa Bay offensive system. Dilfer in trouble from behind. Took a hit. And they say it's an incomplete pass. Footman able to track him down from behind. But Dilfer had good protection there. You can only hold him off for so long.
Well, Sam said all last week that he felt the Browns were out of shape, that they got tired in the game against New England, particularly this man right here and Tim Goat inside their interior defensive lineman. But it's a cool day here in Cleveland, and it doesn't look like he's out of shape today. He's getting fresher, and that's something they didn't have in the later part of the game last week.
3rd and 2 with less than a minute to play until halftime. Cleveland a 12-0 lead, and the ball batted down at the line of scrimmage. It may have been, it could have been Caldwell or Pleasant, both coming in from the far side.
Tim Jacobs, the nickelback, number 41. He's going to come in the left side of your screen. They're not expecting that. They try to pick it up, but there's too many bodies over there. I counted three hands up in the air in Dilfer's face. I mean, that's the wrong side for him to try to throw the football, and that's the side they brought the heat.
Well, you know what happened last time? Roby dropped back to punt. The snap was short, and it cost him the football. Good punt by Roby back to the 20. Keenan McCardle looking for a hole, and there's not one there. 51-yard punt by Reggie Roby. And Dave or rather Demetrius DeBose, down to make the stop. Well, you know him as Lowell and Stacy. Find out. It's been a very good half for Vinny Testaverde. He's hit on 11 of 14, 159 yards and a touchdown. Of course, he had a great first half last week in New England, and then missed on 7 of his final 8 throws. Incomplete. Good coverage to the intended receiver 85, Derek Alexander, by Mike Magruder.
You know, it's interesting. You look at Eric Curry as we look at Steve Crosby, the offensive coordinator for the Browns. But Eric Curry for the Bucs, he stands up now as a defensive end. And that's really helped his takeoffs. Now, he's been called for some, early takeoffs and offsides, but if you watch him, he is getting off the ball so much faster this year because of that stance.
Well, you say Herman Army checks in. Tony Jones, the outstanding left tackle, went limping off the field. Zipped in there to Derek Alexander. Testaverde wants timeout with 33 seconds left in the half. A 25-yard gain. And the first timeout used by Cleveland. Boy, what a blow that would be to the Browns if Tony Jones is seriously hurt. He has started 84 consecutive games. He is the offensive captain of these Cleveland Browns.
I think they're good all down the offensive line. On the other side, you got Orlando Brown. He's only 340, 6'7", 340. So they've done a lot. And Steve Crosby told me this yesterday, the Browns offensive coordinator. They've done a lot to make sure that they can protect Vinny. And a lot of times they will overprotect him. They'll leave too many guys in, and he doesn't have enough guys to throw to out in the field. So you can go too far with that. But you're right. You can't overestimate what it means to have 2 good tackles in the NFL. I mean, that's security for that man right there. And a funny story about him we'll tell you a little bit later on.
3 receptions for Derek Alexander, 94 yards. Hand off to Hunter. Short gain. Brown didn't like the call. And the clock stopped with 28 seconds left in the second quarter.
Well, they were hoping that play got them in the field goal range. I mean, that was supposed to break. You're coming with the pass. 30 seconds left here. You're supposed to open wide open for that one, but it didn't happen. I noticed the Bucs are playing a lot better in the front 7. And that's got to be because of that 43. You got 4 guys down there. You got 3 linebackers. There's more people in the interior to help out. And the way they play it, talking to Rusty Tillman, the defensive coordinator for the Bucs, they're playing it with gaps protection. I mean, they are attacking the gaps and being aggressive. They're not reading flow like they did last year. And that's been the difference. And it looks as though Jones is going to be taken off the field.
Well, maybe feeling around in the groin area?
Well, I don't know. But with all that stuff on his arms, it's a wonder he can run. When that stuff gets wet, it gets heavy. Man, complete with tattoos and everything.
28 seconds left in the first half, and Testaverde will put it up. Dances out of the pocket, blows to the near sideline. Ernest Biner ducks out of bounds.
See, the Bucs don't take a lot of chances with blitzes. They really are not a blitzing team. They like to do things with different looks up front and stunts and all kind of things like that, but you're not going to see them bring a strong safety or free safety down the pipe.
Well, injury and a big one for the Buccaneers. Number 45, Tony Stargell, who is filling in for the injured Martin Mayhew, has left the game with a hip pointer. Questionable whether or not he'll return. So Clifton Abraham, the rookie, checks in. Wide open. Touchdown. Keenan McCarthy. No penalty flags on the field. Well, Vinny against his former team has it in high gear today.
You see the way Everett got out of the post there. Dimmery thinks he's got help. The only help he's got is our cameraman. Maybe he could have put the pucks out and made a play.
Well, Vinny Testaverde, who was booed so badly in Tampa Bay, he could have bought a round at a local nightclub and they'd have booed him. In for the extra point is Stover. And it is a 19-0 Cleveland lead. The Browns, their only 2 touchdowns in the first half, coming in the final minute and a half of the second quarter.
Well, you knew sooner or later they had to take a shot downtown. I just don't understand the coverage that went on there. Like we say, Demery, he completely let McCardle go. It's as though he thought he had help. Everett had to disappear inside. He had pushed. He got a push from the tight end. But, I mean, this is just too easy. You can't play football like that and survive in the NFL.
Keenan McCardle took over the 3rd wide receiver spot this week from Derek Alexander. We documented the problems for Alexander. The big drop ball last week against New England on the final drive. And the 2 drops on the first series in the playoff loss against Pittsburgh last season. But McCardle getting 2 touchdowns today. He did not have a touchdown all of last season after getting 4 in 1993. Edmonds, a yard deep in his own end zone. And he is whacked by Sutter at the 15.
Going back to that touchdown, those are the kind of plays that get you beat. You know, they dodged the bullet earlier with having the block punt, and the defense held. But when you give up touchdowns that easy, you know, that's just not being competitive. You got to be more competitive than that. And that's a mental error. Somebody is not where they were supposed to be.
Well, the Brown defense going to drop everybody back. And now they'll come walking in a little closer. The safeties, Turner and Moore, all the way back to the 35. And Tampa Bay will just run out the clock on the give to Eric Brett. That'll be the final play of the first half. It was very tight up until the last 2 minutes of the half, a 6-0 game. But then Cleveland, 2 late touchdowns, and Bill Belichick's team goes into the locker room at halftime, leading 19-0. Is Tampa Bay in big trouble here, Ryan?
Well, I think they are, but they got the potential to come back. They've shown it on offense. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the dumb things they're doing in the defense. The big plays are giving up, voided zones, that kind of thing.
Well, Cleveland leading 19-0. The Browns lost last week at New England, blowing a 4th quarter lead over the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe having a big time of it in that game. And of course, Tampa Bay coming off a road win at Philadelphia. It's 19-0 Browns at the half. Cleveland, Ohio, where the Browns at halftime lead the Buccaneers 19-0. Cleveland to kick it off to begin the second half. And Tampa Bay, Ron, needs to get something going offensively in a hurry.
Yeah, well, the offense hasn't been the problem. They've been able to move the ball. No turnovers haven't been a problem. It's just the mistakes on defense. And even though the defense did do a good job of keeping Cleveland out of the end zone when they got bad field position on the block punt, you know, you can't give up those plays. Nobody's standing around a receiver. He's standing wide open in the end zone. You got to give yourself a chance.
Well, the ball blew off the tee. Winds have kicked up along Lake Erie. Bobby Joe Edmonds waiting for the Stover kickoff, and he'll battle the sun and get it at the 12. Cuts it back inside, and he's dragged down at the 25 by Gerald Dixon. Well, the first half numbers, and look at the passing yards for Cleveland.
Well, that's been the difference. Then he's got time, and he can pick you apart. Plus, he's playing against a Bucs zone defense, and that's really not helping the situation. Not a lot of blitzing going on. He's just got to pick them apart. But the time of possession, to me, is the key thing. Being able to keep the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off the field and kind of throw off Trent Dilfer's rhythm.
First and 10, Tampa Bay at the 25. Brett, and he is met head on by Tim Goad, the 8th-year pro out of North Carolina.
Free agent from New England last year. This is really the replacement for Perry, in a sense. I mean, he's the guy that they expect to sit down in there inside and stop up the whole middle. Not as quick off the ball, of course, but he's an all-day player. He'll give you 100% effort all the time.
See the numbers on Dilfer in the first half. He was sacked once for 10 yards. Short drop, and he'll go down again. Anthony Pleasant.
This is the advantage of having corners that can cover. And Cleveland has always had corners that can lock up man-to-man. Both linebackers are coming. They got all 7 up front coming. And they bring Griffin right there off the corner. Now, he's not a factor, but the pressure inside is.
Pleasant had 11 sacks in '93, only 4.5 last year. A 3rd and 15 for the Buccaneers. Blitz coming again. Dilfer fires far side, caught by Horace Copeland. And it's good enough for the first down. It looked like he was juggling for a minute.
Yeah, I don't understand this play. Antonio Langham, you're sitting there 3rd and 14 at the top of the screen. Come on, Antonio, you got to come down a little bit and be competitive. You know, you got guys up front that can get pressure for you. Don't give up that pass like that. That's pitch and catch. Boy, they had to be smiling. Sam was on the sidelines jumping up and down when he saw a cornerback off 10 yards like that. He's going to catch a wrath when he gets to the sideline from Belichick, I guarantee you.
Langham, the 1st-round pick in '94, 9th overall in the draft. They needed 15. They pick up 16.
Even if you're playing zone, you can still play a zone a lot more competitive than that. He can squeeze that thing down.
First possession of the second half. Tampa Bay trailing Cleveland 19-0. Dilfer across the middle, caught by the tight end Jackie Harris.
Dilfer's pass is completed. Jackie Harris with the reception. Pepper Johnson.
Harris his 4th reception of the game.
Here's what happens to Trent Dilfer under pressure. The hurries is the big thing, okay? Because the hurries, people talk about sacks and all that, but the hurries lead to bad throws, which lead to turnovers. So if you can't get to the quarterback, at least give the illusion that you got a lot of pressure on him and make him feel the pressure.
The pitch to Rhett, cuts it back inside, and he's into Cleveland territory down to the 45 before Footman tripped him up. Well, many of the skeptics, Ron, you brought up the name Michael Dean Perry, along with Bill Johnson, and losing James Jones to free agency. Many wondered whether the Browns would be able to put pressure on the quarterback. They did not so much as breathe on Drew Bledsoe last week in his 47 pass attempts.
Yeah, well, that goes back to what we're talking about Sam Weiss saying they're out of shape. And he said, I know my guys are in shape down there in that Tampa humidity, but I don't think they were in shape. And today it hasn't shown up so far.
Short drop, open receiver, spin move, down the sideline is Dawsey, and he's to the 19. Saving tackle made by Stephon Moore.
When they bring the corner, they got to cover with a strong safety, a safety who's not used to covering, and that's what happened. Stephon Moore, I mean, he's lucky to get in position to make a tackle, and then he misses the tackle. Good job by Dawsey working around, making something happen after the catch. You got to love the way this offense goes down the field. This reminds you of the Bengals' old offense when Sam had the no-huddle going there, moving the ball down the field at will.
26-yard gain on the pass play. Big hole for Rhett, and he's inside the Cleveland 15. Moore tripped him up.
Well, nothing like the pass and then coming back to the run and starting all the action one way. The action's going to go to your left. But watch the cutback right here, and the key thing is to have it blocked on the backside. When you get it blocked on the backside, they picked up the backside linebacker. Stevan Moore had to come up and make the tackle. That's what you want. You want those secondary people having to come up and make the first tackle, the first hit. Now you know you got something going on.
Not much room this time. He's to the 13. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3 for Tampa Bay.
See, everything Sam Weiss does is for a reason. He's a real cagey kind of guy. Now, they run that stretch play going to that side, and they call it a stretch because it develops so slowly. But what they're really doing is checking out the backside discipline. They're seeing if that linebacker back there is chasing you across the field. Now, if he's chasing, like they did that time, they'll do the bootleg coming back.
Well, they spot it at about the 14. So 3rd and 4. And Dilfer has to spend a timeout. This is a big play for the Buccaneers offense. So Dilfer will talk it over with Sam Weiss. We'll take a break, and we'll have the 3rd down and 4 when we come back.
Sunday is brought to you by Toyota, who invites you to experience the tranquility of the all-new Avalon. By Dockers Flat Front Khakis, proud makers of nice pants. By Visa, official card of the NFL. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
3rd down and 4. Cleveland leading 19-0. The ball with the Browns. 14. Dilfer being chased. He'll lean in for the first down to the 9. 1st and goal for the Buccaneers, and Dilfer showing some maturity.
I think this is what happens when you lose a Michael Dean Perry. You don't have it up the middle. And that's where he steps up the middle. The pocket collapses on the outside, and Footman has a chance for him right there. But look at the room he's got. The linebacker comes down. That's Pepper comes down at the last minute to try to make the tackle. But that's awareness by Trent Dilfer, understanding exactly what he needs for the first down. He said he didn't have that last year. He never really understood why.
Brett maybe gain 2 to the Cleveland 7.
Going back to Dilfer, he told us last night he never understood exactly why he was doing things in this offense. He says, now I understand. I know exactly the situation, and I don't have to think about it. And that's what Steve Young said out in San Francisco a couple years ago. He said, finally, I've got it because I don't have to think about it. I can just react and do it.
Well, Dilfer has worked at it. Spent hundreds of hours during the offseason with his head coach, Sam Weiss, and the quarterback's coach, Turk Schoner. Play fake to Rhett. End zone, intercepted by Don Griffin. And he'll take it down on a knee, so Dilfer, the ill-timed interception, taking his team out of a scoring chance, and the Cleveland defense has held.
The rollout was pretty. The play was pretty. The only problem, he doesn't look to see where he throws first. He just lets it go. And Griffin comes across.
Today's shots from above is the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. The Goodyear Blimps are now in their 4th decade of live sports coverage. 19-0. Cleveland in front. Ball at the 20 after the Griffin interception in the end zone. And Lorenzo White carries out to the 22. Let's take another look at that interception by Griffin on the throw from Dilfer.
As Trent Dilfer matures, he will see more. And here's the touchdown here. The rollout is nice. It gives him the time. It gives him a clear line of vision. And we can stop it right about here. Look at Jackie Harris in the middle of the field. He's ready for the ball, throwing the ball. But Trent doesn't see it. He holds it a little bit too long. That gives Griffin time to come across the field and jump in front of the play.
On a 2nd and 8. White smothered for a 3-yard loss by Mark Wheeler and Eric Curry. Let's send it back to James Brown.
Elijah having some problems up there.
Yeah, you better call Dad and get him straightened out.
I better drive up there after the game and Talk to him.
Testaverde on a 3rd and 11. Rolls left. Throws. And did he come down inbounds? Yes, he did. And again, the reception. Keenan McCardle. What a day he's having. McCardle 2 touchdown receptions in the first half. And that is his 5th catch today.
Nice throw on the run, but watch the feet. That's called dotting the I.
They know all about that in Ohio.
I love the way people get out of the sideline, get out of the way on the sideline. They scatter. You know, they're around football. Guys got pads on. They're still running to get out of the way. Figure you got your pads on the sideline, so what?
Hit somebody.
Yeah. Don't worry. He won't hurt you.
First down for Cleveland. Clock running at 6:40 in the 3rd. Testaverde looking downfield. Nobody there. He's looking some more. Still nobody there.
You know, I think not having Michael Jackson is hurting this team today, because it's too easy to key on one guy, Andre Rison. That's what they did. They put a double on him. They dragged him across the field. They stayed with him. And when he came back to this side, he really had no place to go with the ball. Smart to pull that ball down and do that. And I'm sure the folks down in Tampa Bay are wondering, well, where was this guy when we drafted him? Where was this Vinny Testaverde?
Well,
why does he show up now?
Really, Jackson had to leave the game with a calf injury. Andre Rison has only caught 1 pass. But Keenan McCardle and Derek Alexander have had big days in the Cleveland offense. Lorenzo White close to another Browns first down. Tripped up by Derek Brooks.
You know, you can't have a wide receiver trying to block a defensive end. It just doesn't work out. Watch here to the left of your screen. McCardle's going to try to block Curry.
Well, he got in his way.
Yeah, he got in his way. Like getting in the way of a locomotive. He got in the way.
Well, they're going to bring out the chains for a measurement. Good enough. First down, Cleveland. All of the Browns 44. Vinny and the Browns a 19-0 lead.
Ozzie Newsome right there. Involving the player. You know, I'm not sure what Ozzie does. In the book it says pro personnel and scouting, and then he's down here giving signs. What he's doing, he's giving the fake signs, actually. I don't know how many people know that. Crosby's giving the others the real signs on the other side of the sideline. He's giving the fake signs.
Lorenzo White again, and there's a Hanatu. 5-yard loss. Lorenzo White brought over as an unrestricted free agent after 7 years in Houston. A 92 Pro Bowler, lost his job in 93, bounced back with an impressive 94. But hasn't done much today.
On the right of your screen, number 72, Chidi Hanatu. Watch the play he makes on Brian Kinchin. Right there. He stopped that play. Look at Lorenzo White put on brakes. Wow, that's ABS Bosch brakes right there.
Loss of 4 is 2nd and 14. And again, Vinny just has to throw it away, and there was Chidi Hanatu chasing him again. Well, next week it's Fox NFL.
See, the defense has not been playing all that bad. It's, you know, the big plays, they've taken away the big plays, but they give up one here at the wrong situation. But all in all, they've really played pretty well, I thought.
3rd and 14. Testaverde under pressure, drills out, and a red flag comes in.
That is really late.
The intended receiver was Derek Alexander, and a very late flag thrown in.
Mike Magruder, number 21, he was on the coverage. He's going to come down from left to right, and at the last minute he's going to make a swat. Let's see if we can see any interference. No way. No way. Terrible call.
Pass interference by the defense, number 21. Automatic first down.
Terrible call. That's all hand across the ball. There was no contact from this angle, from his other hand. on the shoulder pad, that's a great football play. See, he's going to go into films, and Tillman's going to say, you know what, that's a great job. And the same thing with Johnny Lynn as defensive back coach. He's going to say, that's a great job. You keep playing like that. The trick is not to get down on yourself and start to pull up.
Mike Magruder grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, where he was inducted into that school's Hall of Fame in '91. So a homecoming for him. His team down 19-0. They give it to Ernest Hunter.
Easy up.
He may have gotten two.
Boy, I'm impressed with it as the emotions start to fly down there. Everett, 61, he's involved. You would expect a guy like Everett to get involved.
I don't know if I'd want to mess with him at 6'5", 290 out of Michigan.
Would you believe he's an artist? An artiste, I should say.
Well, his father, an accomplished sculptor.
Yep, graphic artist. He's even had an exhibition in the offseason. So he's on his way.
Play fake, Testaverde near side, and there's McCardle again. Thrown to the ground by John Lynch.
If you take away the big plays, the Bucs are in this game. They've done a good job of keeping Cleveland in third and long situations.
Keenan McCardle, 6 receptions for 79 yards. The early injury to Michael Jackson has given McCardle a lot of playing time here today, and he's earned more time for next week.
Hardy's going to have to get used to not making as many tackles as he's made in the past few years simply because of the new scheme. And I think it's going to be better for the team as a whole.
Third down and 4, and Rison had it thrown behind him.
I wonder how long it is. You see Vinny right there telling him you ran the wrong route. Boy, talking about his, okay, maybe I was wrong. How long is it going to be before that man starts to complain?
Well, if he runs the wrong pattern, he can't complain.
He can't complain, but you know, he hasn't gotten that many balls. Here it is right here. You can see it. You know, 1 catch for 10 yards. He's the low man on the totem pole.
And he had a drop at the 15 back in the first quarter, which would have been a third down conversion. So Cleveland will punt after the 11-play drive. Thom has it bounce into the end zone and then out of it. So they'll bring it out to the 20. Cleveland leading with 3:05 here in the third. 19-0. Beautiful day in northern Ohio. Back at Cleveland Stadium, a 19-0 Browns lead over the Buccaneers. And Tampa Bay moved the ball effectively, chewing up better than 6 minutes on its opening drive to begin the second half, only to watch as Trent Dilfer had his throw into the end zone picked off by Don Griffin to stall the drive. Blitz coming. Wide open, Jackie Harris, and he's out to the 37. And Dilfer is rushing him up to the line of scrimmage in this no-huddle offense.
Well, that's smart. They bring Banks that time. Now, if you bring your outside linebacker, you're going to avoid a zone. Check him out, 58. He comes. Well, that means there's nobody on that left side in that hook area. And that's exactly where they throw the ball. Sam's doing what he said he would do. Get the ball to the tight end more, making use of Jackie Harris.
Back to the ground. Eric Rett with room, turns a corner, banged out of bounds by Griffin, close to midfield.
Eric Rett on the bounce. Funny, Sam talking about that no huddle. That no huddle was actually invented in practice in training camp back in '85, and they didn't use it until the '86 season, but they went through a whole deal one day in practice. Said, hey, this is a good deal. Maybe we'll use this. Maybe it has a future.
Rett, 19 carries for 77 yards, gets the fake here, throw downfield, juggled and caught by Courtney Hawkins to the Cleveland 33. The hit made by Antonio Langham.
Watch the play action. They're going to start to your left, to the bottom of the screen, and then he's going to work back up top. And look at the space he has to throw to, and the smart thing he did here, which was the mistake he made on the interception in the end zone, he got rid of it fast. And that gave time for him to get it just in front of the linebacker before the DB could get there.
Well, they set up the screen to Jerry Ellison. He's pushed out of bounds at the 20. So for the second straight drive, Tampa Bay is moving the ball against this Cleveland defense. They just haven't been able to put it in the end zone.
Folks in Tampa Bay got to be happy with the way this offense is working. Last year, it was so lethargic. It sputtered and so many excuses. But they're moving the ball up and down the field. Now I look to the guys like Pepper Johnson and Banks. You talk about 10 years in the league, 12 years in the league. A front four that's got 2 new starters. Maybe they're having problems. Maybe it's the Cleveland Brown defense that isn't as good as people think.
And off to Rhett. And a late flag thrown from the near side after maybe a 2-yard gain. Holding against the Buccaneers.
Holding by the offense, number 86. The 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Ty J. Armstrong, the Buccaneers tight end.
Well, Ty J is known to be a good blocker, and he is a good blocker, but sometimes good blockers hold to be good blockers.
Oh, there are a lot of good blockers that do a good job of holding.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay moved back to the 29, and Dilfer back to throw. And he'll be taken down at the 38. Third time Dilfer has been sacked today. And we mentioned this Tampa Bay offensive line had allowed just 3 sacks in their last 7 regular season games.
And I think Sam's comment about him getting tired fired him up. The pressure's going to come from Footman right there. Look at the hand to the face of McCray. Now that's illegal. They're not going to call that, but that's illegal. And then the rest of the crew comes in. You know, it's funny what gets called and what doesn't get called, and it's just like it's almost like they take turns. Say, well, we're going to call holding this play, but we're not going to call this on the defense.
Footman played outside a year ago. He's been moved inside this season. And Dilfer down again. Stevan Moore up from the strong safety on the blitz.
See, the bad thing about these last 2 sacks, the first one took him out of field goal range. That's the problem. Now, you're down 19-0. Third quarter running out. Trent's got to throw it up, I think. He's got to try to make something happen. Right, there's such thing as a smart play and throwing it away, but he's got to try to let go of the ball and make something happen. Well, it's basically as good as a punt.
That is the end of the third quarter. Our score: Cleveland 19, Tampa Bay nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local Fox station. Ohio, where they just opened the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, home of the American League Central Division champion Cleveland Indians in baseball, and in football, they believe their Browns could make their first ever appearance in a Super Bowl.
Well, it's definitely been crowded downtown. We couldn't even get a hotel in town.
No, we're way out.
No, we're way out.
Just maybe a mile or so away from Cincinnati today, my old hometown. A 19-0 Browns lead, a 3rd and 36. And Dilfer downfield, receiver came back to get it. On a 3rd and 36, Courtney Hawkins has enough for the first down. Can you believe that?
That's the case where the underthrow works in your advantage, and they work on underthrowing the football like that. Now, there's going to be double coverage down the field. You'll see it. Griffin has an inside, but right here, watch Courtney stop. And Dana Hall, he can't come over fast enough, but that's not his fault. When you got an underthrown ball like that, they got to protect the touchdown first. That's a perfect throw in that situation.
And Dana Hall is the injured Cleveland Brown. We'll take a break. Tampa Bay a scoring chance when we return, and a long way to go. Well, our Budweiser game summary thus far. The team, certainly the injuries adding up as Dana Hall is being taken off the field. Cleveland did not get a sack of Drew Bledsoe last week. They have 4 today. Tampa Bay had 5 of Randall Cunningham, none today. And that looked serious.
This is a big hit here. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Dana Hall 25. It's hard to tell where exactly he hurt that knee. Perhaps he did it on the stop when he tried to gather himself and come up with the ball, but that's a big injury right there. Hall, the former first rounder from San Francisco, didn't quite pan out. A lot of criticism around the 49ers for making a mistake on a guy. They usually don't make mistakes like that in the first rounders, but he just wasn't able to do it.
Well, bear in mind, Cleveland led at halftime last week over New England, but lost the game on a last-minute touchdown. If Tampa Bay can punch one in here, the Bucs are back in it. Brett to the 5. Met head on and pushed out of bounds.
Oh, that's going to be a late hit.
Yep.
Oh, the audio is great. I mean, you talk about being down on that field, Thom, and hearing that cracking of that plastic going on. Woo.
Well, Antonio Langham made the clean hit. Eric Turner, the Pro Bowler, the late hit.
Well, that's those UCLA guys for you. You know, they're always.
You used to do that all the time. You do it to me.
Boy, does he feel good to be back, though, talking about Eric Turner. You're going to see Langham make the clean hit right there. That's okay, but here's the problem. But you know what? He's still got a foot in bounds. That's very iffy, if you ask me.
Well, Turner, a ferocious hitter.
I think that represents more that Rhett was leaning out of bounds and was clearly stopped, and momentum stopped, and even had a shoulder out of bounds. As you know, for free safeties like Eric Turner, that ain't good enough.
Well, they're down near the dog pound.
And remind you, Tampa Bay is not out of this game. A touchdown two-pointer here, even if they don't get the two-pointer.
Rhett cuts back. Touchdown, Eric Rhett. And the key block thrown by Jerry Ellison, leading the way, and Tampa Bay into the end zone for the first time today. Well, we mentioned that Cleveland led at halftime last week, Ron. The first time since '93 they had lost a game after leading at halftime.
Great picture of looking at the dog pound and the problems you got down there in trying to communicate to your offense. But they get it done, and watch the block here by Ellison right there. Boy, I tell you what, you want to talk about just driving the guy out of the pitch. I mean, he just takes Don Griffin, turns his shoulder, and just aerates the field with him.
And they will go for 2. More in motion. Rhett the other way. Didn't get it. Ripped up by Anthony Pleasant.
I don't agree with that call, and I'll tell you why. I think you got to spread them out and pass the football. Don't keep them bunched up and running.
The Jacobs Field, home of the Cleveland Indians. Also a brand new arena for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Art Modell hoping for a brand new stadium for his Cleveland Browns. There's even been talk about, believe it or not, the Browns leaving this city. That is certainly one of the hardest things to ever imagine. Oh, bobble kickoff. Bates and Turner were wrestling it from one another. Hunter picked it up, and he's dragged down close to the 20. So we'll take a break. Cleveland with 13:43 to go, a 19-6 lead over the Buccaneers. England. Tuesday,
Steve Crosby. It's funny, you're talking about that story about Crosby I was going to tell before. My father was a scout with the Green Bay Packers back in '72. He went and scouted him as a player, a running back.
Big hole through the middle for Leroy Horde, and he's out to the 43.
We'll get back to that Elijah story later on. Well, maybe we'll get back to it now. Anyways, I said, well, you were a coach then in '72? He said, are you kidding me? I was playing. I didn't want to make Steve feel that old. Good man-to-man blocking right there. That's all it's about, man-to-man blocking in the 4-3. When you got a 43, you got 4 down linemen, you got to block it man-to-man. You get those secondary people making them tackles. Somebody's going on IR sooner or later.
Flag down. And Horde again with a carry. No hold this time. Warren Sapp. And a couple of others in on the stop. Tampa Bay started early.
Offside by the defense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
See, that's Curry again. And Curry is standing up, and you know that's a new thing for him. But I think he leans a little bit into that neutral zone when he does it. And he's been called twice, 3 times today for offside.
You know, kind of ironic, this Cleveland team today, Ron. Their offenses look very, very good. Yet the defense, which they believed would be a strength this season, has been shaky.
Yeah, and you saw the yards right there in the second half for Tampa Bay. They have exploded.
Boyd, big hole on the 1st and 5 carry, and he has enough for a first down. Penalty flags on the field again.
Well, you're up 19-6 with 12 minutes to go. You got to believe it's run time. All right, they're going to bring this clock down all the way, but that looks as though it's going against.
Holding by the offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Yeah, Everett got a hold of his man, and you could see they were 5 yards in the backfield. He still had a hold of him. They bring this play to the left, and they're going to cut it back. Watch Everett, the center, working on Wheeler. See right there, he's got that. You see that jersey stretch like that? As soon as the refs see that jersey stretch, it's holding. It doesn't matter. That's why they teach him to hold inside.
Oh, you don't mean to say they teach him how to do that, do you?
Well, you didn't hear that from me. Right?
I understand. We'll keep it a secret.
They inadvertently hold inside at times.
First and 15 after consecutive penalties. Ford couldn't hang on and nearly intercepted by Derek Brooks.
Well, Mr. Modell, the owner right next to us, he let out a whoop. And for good reason, because that ball looked like it almost got intercepted. Brooks came flying up there. Boy, a lot of concern on that one. Good 1st and 15 call. The play developed slowly. They weren't able to get the lineman out. And Brooks, using that speed we talked about in the beginning of the show, came up and almost made a play.
.39 to go. A 19-6 Cleveland lead. Blitz is on. Testaverde escapes trouble. And he'll have to eat it. Running out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd and long. The first man after him, Mike Magruder.
Magruder's got to make the play. He comes off the inside. He'll be up the top of your screen. Cornerback blitz. He's got a free shot. He's got to make the play. I mean, you know, you get a sack right there. Now it's a whole different ball game. And you're sitting here 3rd and 18 as it is. But he's got to make the play.
Well, Vinny showed some fancy footwork last week in New England.
Well, I know Vinny's not that fast. He works well. I'm not saying he's completely immobile, but I know he's not that fast to get away from Mike Magruder.
Big play for the Tampa Bay defense on a 3rd and 18. Testaverde, great protection this time, and overthrows his intended receiver, Derek Alexander. So Tampa Bay will get the football back. 11:09 to play here in the game. Testaverde and the Browns in front, 19-6.
Well, that's what happens when you're underneath people. Hold the seam, holding that pass down the middle. The backers, they got their depth. They didn't bite up front on the play action or the short throw, and the safeties were able to come over and make a play.
Bobby Joe Edmonds waiting on the Thom Tupa punt.
Got to remember, Tupa can throw the football now. He's already gotten tricky on you once today.
I think Art Modell would fall out of his box if they attempted the fake punt.
Maybe they had it on. Maybe they had it on and didn't like what they saw.
Well, the timeout on the field. Bill Belichick and his Cleveland Browns leading Sam Weiss and the Bucs 19-6. Back at Cleveland Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio, a 19-6 Browns lead with 11:09 left to play in the game. I'm sure Sam Weiss saying over on the sideline, he's not saying it to Trent Dilfer now, but oh, that interception in the end zone.
Oh, that looms big because, you know, on this last drive here, now they're going down to really do some damage. So, you know, they're going to get the ball back here, and he's got to do the same thing. He's got to bring the team down the field. And he's held a lot of. He's been very confident, very poised.
Low snap, handled well by Tupa. And it'll be down at the 21-yard line, and that's where the Buccaneers will put it in play. Trailing Cleveland 19-6. Well, the Cleveland Browns trying to become the fastest team to win 200 home games. Browns all-time record you see at the stadium, very impressive, 199, 112, and 5. You're wondering, the closest would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. That man right there has a lot to do with some home wins here in Cleveland.
Tell you, he's been around, an inspiration to the team. And talking to Bill Belichick yesterday about why he likes having him around. He said, are you kidding me? They'll listen to him. They won't listen to me. They'll listen to him.
The Hall of Famer, Jim Brown. 19-6, Cleveland in front. And Dilfer coming out, throwing, in trouble. Sack for the 5th time today. Rich McKenzie out of Penn State got it. Loss of 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 14.
The pressure's mainly going to be on the left-hand side. They take care of Burnett inside with Mayberry. Trent's got to know when to get out of there. And that's something from in the offseason. He worked with Sam about having more poise in the pocket, staying in there, reading. But there comes a time to throw and a time to get the heck out of there and run.
Blitz coming. Dilfer unloads. Point. Out at the 26 by Lawrence Dawsey. It'll bring up a 3rd and a little better than 5 for the Buccaneers. 10:21 to go here in Cleveland.
You talk about a guy paying his dues to get into the league. He started off as a defensive assistant with Ted Marchibroda in '75 with the old Baltimore Colts for $25 a week. He did everything from get coffee to help tape guys' ankles.
He's making a lot more than that now.
Oh, yeah. He said the only thing that worked on a consistent basis back then was a Xerox machine.
Big play, 3rd and 5 for the Buccaneers.
Time clock got him.
And you see the reaction by Trent Dilfer. So rather than 3rd and 5.
Play the game, run the offense. 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
It's a 3rd and 10.
I think it's amazing how Sam never gets upset. You know, here's a delay of game, and you know, you'd expect the guy to be jumping around the sidelines going crazy, but he just calmly gives the play, and that's Sam Weiss's demeanor. Plus, he might know that's his fault too.
3rd down and 10.
Look what Dilfer has done in the second half. 8 of 9, 154 yards old with that interception in the end zone.
Exactly. That's when the stats don't always tell the story. See?
But I think you have to be impressed with this young quarterback. 3rd and 10. And Dilfer hammered from behind. The ball is loose. Pleasant made the hit. And recovered by Rob Burnett. At the 14.
Pleasant will be coming off to the left side of your screen. He gets away from Gruber, and that's the problem right there. That arm is not in motion, therefore it is a fumble. Boy, that blind side, that's why everybody talks about having those tackles on the left side. He's the most important guy, protecting that blind side.
Dilfer has been pounded today by this Cleveland defensive front. 3rd turnover of the day by the Buccaneers, and all 3 have hurt. Ford broke a tackle to the 5. Leroy Horde, a 94 Pro Bowler out of Michigan.
You know, it helps when you got a guy that's 310, the guy that's 340. Watch the blocking on the right side. I mean, that's perfect man-to-man blocking. Hardy gets caught up inside. I think he thought that play was going down inside. He's late on the scrape, but that hole was so big, I don't think he had a chance, even if he got there, to bring Horde down before a 3 or 4 yard gain. Finally starting to see some of Leroy Horde. We didn't see a lot of him, of course, in that big playoff game last year everybody talked about. Didn't see a lot of him last week. Only 9 carries.
This is his 10th carry today. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Nickerson. Maybe enough for a first down on the second and less than a yard, depending on the spot.
Yeah, but forget how many times you get the ball. It's what you do when you get the ball. And Leroy Horde's the kind of guy that when he gets the ball, yeah, he's good for 3, 4, 5 yards.
Well, he had 9 touchdowns last season, 5th in the AFC. Led the team in rushing with 890 yards. 3rd in receiving, 45 catches out of the backfield. But you mentioned not much last week, and really just a little better than that today.
Well, knowing Bill Belichick, you're going to see more of Leroy Horde because he fits into that NFC East type of mentality, that pound it at you, run the ball mentality. And Ernest Biner fits in it too. But I think he fits in it more as a guy, in a Dave Meggett kind of thing. You know, more of a guy you can pass the ball to in the flat.
Well, it was good enough for a first down, so it's 1st and goal Cleveland, just inside the 5. Well, a touchdown here, and the Buccaneers are in deep trouble.
They've given the Browns problems down here. This is where they've made it tough, and that's good for a defense like the Buccaneers. You need to get a jump start this year.
Testaverde to the end zone, batted down. Outstanding defensive play by Magruder.
I tell you, that's what I'm talking about. Now, that's the same kind of play he made in the 3rd quarter and got a flag for. And Mike Magruder, he's a 4'3", 4'2", 40 guy. He can run, and he's got great cover skills. He probably should be a starter, and he probably will, Wilson, making plays like that. But watch him come down on the break. He's got that hand a little bit on the back there. You can see it. But as long as that hand is not hindering the receiver or preventing the receiver from making the catch, they're not going to call it.
They were looking for Andre Rison. Back to the running game. Horde. Stop.
Boy, I tell you what, it makes a difference when you got 3 linebackers in the game and you got 4 guys down front that are playing. Derek Brooks making the tackle. You got Sapp inside. So you got a speed on outside, and you got a stuffer inside in Warren Sapp. That's what they didn't have last year. And this is why they're tougher on the goal line. And Belichick's got to wonder, when he goes and looks at this film tomorrow, he's got to say, you know, what is our problem on the goal line? And don't forget, this film circulates. Every other team in the NFL is going to say, you know what? They got trouble on the goal line. And they're going to try to duplicate whatever Tampa Bay is doing here.
3rd and goal at the Buccaneer 2. Vinny to throw. And nearly intercepted by Thomas Everett. He got a hand on it. Batted it in the air.
They shut him down once again. If Tampa Bay goes home with one good feeling, it will be that their defense played tough on the goal line. This is after the pump fake to the other side. Watch Everett get up. Everett, if he can get a hold of this ball, or if he can just tip it out toward the field, he's going to have a chance to run for about 102 yards. Thomas Everett coming over from Dallas.
Here's Stover, and right down the middle from 20 yards out. Stover, 3 field goals today. He's hit 23 in a row, a Browns team record. It's a 22-6 Cleveland lead. Stale. On a gorgeous day in Cleveland, the Browns, picked by many to be a challenger to represent the AFC in this year's Super Bowl. Losers last week in New England, leading here 22-6. Bobby Joe Edmonds from the 1. And And he races out to the 25.
They've done a good job against this guy. What a story he is. Here's a guy that's out of the league for 5 years, the longest ever. Going back to like 1941 for a player to be out that long and then come back and play again.
Well, he had injuries. He is an alcoholic and has gotten his life back on track. His agent had a good relationship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneer front office. Called up and said, please give our guy a one-day tryout. Came out and ran about a 4.40, and Sam Weiss said, well, why don't you hang around for a while?
Yeah, he went down to the Senior Bowl where all the NFL coaches go down to scout. He said he hung out in the parking lot and just basically asked for a tryout from each team, each guy that came by. Persistence pays off, man.
A former Pro Bowler back in '86. Dilfer going for the goods here. Broken up by Eric Turner. The intended receiver, Horace Copeland. Well, next, Buddy Ball.
I can't wait to interview Buddy. That'll be fun.
Quite a character. Far side underthrown, batted actually at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10 for Dilfer and the Buccaneers with 6:43 left.
To see, unfortunately, for Tampa Bay, they've gotten away from the game plan a little bit here. You know, time's running out. They got to go ahead and air it out. They got to get away from the short dink stuff, which moved the ball down the field. But it's like you said earlier, Tom, the big play was probably the interception in the end zone. And some big playing going on there with Miami and New England.
Well, the Steelers score, having another big time of it. Breaking a tackle, Jackie Harris trying to get out of bounds. And he's tackled at the 35 by Don Griffin. Clock rolling at 6:30. And Tampa Bay trailing the Browns 22-6.
Trent is seeing everything this year as opposed to last year. The blitz is going to come on the right side. And there's Pepper. He's coming up for the delayed blitz. But like I say, when you blitz, you got a guy who's voiding a zone. And that's probably inside, and that's right where Jackie Harris was. I think Trent Dilfer just needs more time, more games, more reps.
I tell you, he has certainly been impressive here today. Strike on the far side, caught by Courtney Hawkins. And the clock is still rolling. You know, you bring up a great point, Ron. Obviously, opening the season with 2 road games at Philadelphia, at Cleveland. Tampa Bay, generally the stepchild, let's be honest about it, of the NFC. But you sneak away with 1 out of the 2 games with a victory under your belt. Very good job being done early on by Sam White.
Yeah, everybody in the team talked, but you can get back home 1-1. It's good. Go back home 1-1 somehow. And now you got a chance to really be competitive in the first half of the season.
And I think people around the league are going to find out that Tampa Bay is a better team than the Buccaneers squads of years past.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's the schedule for the Bucs coming up.
Well, you know, this one here, Chicago, that's going to be a tough one.
Oh, yes.
But it's not going to be any tougher than this one, I'm going to tell you right now, or the last one, because they're at home. And I don't think the quality of the team is as good as these two. On down the road, Carolina, that's an away game, but they got to feel confident about that one, even though it's an away game, but it's an expansion team.
5 of the next 6 will be in Tampa. Dilfer to the near side. Jackie Harris, his 7th reception. Louis Riddick throws him down just across midfield.
See, that's another thing that's not going to show up in the scores at the end of the game in stats. Harris has gotten the football. Okay, it hasn't been big plays, but now if they're ahead, it's a different game. You know, it shows up. He's done a great job. He's really gotten to the Cleveland Brown defense and made a difference.
4:20 left. Dilfer speeding things up. Contact and a flag comes in.
They might call offensive interference here. I saw the way Dawson snatched him back. He snatched back on Langham. If they call anything, it's going to have to be offensive.
You see Antonio Langham over there pleading his case. Felt that he was interfered with. Well, we remind you, at the end of this game, Ron and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game.
Hey,
It'll go against Langham.
Well, let's check it out. The ball will be up in the quick fade, underthrown, I think, a little bit. Well, we couldn't get a picture of it from there, but from here, I saw Dawsey on the plate throw him forward, throw the defender forward.
Now the ball at the Cleveland 32 with 4:08 left. Batted ball by Rich McKenzie. He's made a couple of nice plays here today for the Browns. Let's send it back to James.
You know, but here we are there. You're talking about comebacks. 4 minutes on the clock. Hey, get the ball in the end zone. Get yourself a two-pointer. Stay in the game. Tampa Bay has found a way to stay in this game.
Dilfer.
You better hurry up.
2nd and 10, yeah. And wasn't able to get it done.
Timeout, Tampa Bay. That's their second charge team timeout.
I think you saw Dilfer.
Timeout.
I think you saw Dilfer pointing to the helmet. Yeah, there you see. Maybe the reception not too good.
Well, back in the third quarter, he got sacked, and he immediately, there was 2 sacks in a row. He immediately ripped the helmet off, ran to the sideline, and started screaming about the helmet. He was having trouble with the communication device on that helmet then, and he's still having trouble.
Well, tonight, George.
The problem with that now, you're running the no huddle. You have problems. They depend on that communication device. He's listening for Sam to tell him the audible check while he's on the line of scrimmage. All right, if he's got problems with that communication device, I mean, that could shut that no huddle down.
Rob Burnett and the Cleveland defense made it tough today on Dilfer and the Buccaneers. And here they come again. Dilfer intercepted. Stevan Moore to the 32, and that should do it. Now they're celebrating in the dog pound here in Cleveland. And their Browns will pick up their first win this season.
I think this is just a great throw and a great play by Stevan Moore. He doesn't even have sight of the ball coming off of Dilfer's hand. He just turns his head and then lunges out and makes the play. But
that is the first career interception by Stevan Moore.
That is exactly where Dilfer had to throw the ball. Boy, great play. Making great plays at key times. That's what makes a great defense.
Browns will now just try and run out the clock. Leroy Horde on the carry. Well, we showed you the Tampa Bay schedule with 5 of the next 6 games to be played in Tampa. Now for the Cleveland Browns, losers last week at New England, appearing to have this one in hand today against Tampa Bay. We'll get right back into the heart of the AFC Central next week. We'll show you who else the Browns have coming up here in a moment. Horde, it comes loose, and the Buccaneers say they have the football, and they do. With 3:01 left, Leroy Horde, who has had the reputation of putting the ball on the ground during his career, the only knock against Leroy Horde.
It's funny how fumbles in the last few minutes of games have haunted the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, yes.
And here we see it again. And it always happens when you're fighting for extra yards. All right, take what you got and go down. But right there, he's trying to get out, and they're constantly pulling at the ball.
Thomas Everett able to cover it up.
And you can't say that he didn't have 2 hands. He had 2 hands on the ball. But they're just pulling at it. I mean, you got to be conscious. You got to have 2 hands on it and get up high by your chest.
See the numbers on Dilfer today. That is the first Cleveland turnover of the game. Bodies flying on the near side about the 25. He was looking again for the tight end, Jackie Harris.
What confuses me now is Tampa Bay has got 2 tight ends in the game and 2 wideouts going downfield. They had 4 people in the route, but 2 of them were tight ends. I think you got to get another receiver in there. Get more out of there. Get another receiver in there.
Well, Sam, his best receiver short last week and this week, and in the free agent Alvin Harper, signed from the Dallas Cowboys. An ankle injury has kept him out of both games after he had a knee injury in the preseason. Down the middle, there's Harris. Spins away from the first tackler. He's to the 6.
And I say, it caught up to Stephon Moore that time. Okay, he got away with one and made a great athletic play. I'm not taking that away from him. But they came back with the same deal. Cover 2. The safeties are splitting the field in half. Look at the middle. It's wide open, and that's where they attack. You're going to see the perfect throw, and look at Stephon Moore. He's not even in the picture. They had him on the first one. They came back to it and get the play. I want you to watch on the right side here. The safeties have to go out and expand. They have the field cut in half just like that. The weakness of this is right down the middle, in between those hashes. That line tells you how they split this thing in half. You want to send the ball, you want to send somebody right up between the middle of those guys and make those safeties or somebody underneath have to compensate. And that time the guy who had to compensate was Stephon Moore.
Well, the Buccaneers spend their final timeout, trailing 22-6 with 2:44 left.
So outside 2 minutes.
And it's first and goal. No, I'm sorry. It'll be first and 10, just outside the 11.
Interesting. Tampa Bay went into the huddle this time. I think maybe because of the device in Trent's helmet, he can't hear. Now they got to call the plays from the huddle.
Short drop up top to the end zone. And looking for the flag, the intended receiver, Lamar Thomas. He didn't get it. Excellent coverage by Don Griffin.
Hey, you're not going to get too many on Don Griffin. If you get them, it's not going to come easy. Watch the way Don Griffin, at the top of your screen, uses a sideline as a 12th defender. He pins him to the side, knowing that he doesn't have any room to work out there, forcing a throw over the top and out of bounds. Great job by an experienced corner.
Dilfer drops it off to Dave Moore, and he's immediately stopped by Carl Banks. Banks in his 12th year out of Michigan State. Made the Pro Bowl with the Giants back in '87. 9 years he played under Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells in New York. 1 year in Washington. Then came to Cleveland last season. Third down. Dilfer rolling right, looking to the end zone, and has to throw it away. So now 4th down.
There's just nowhere for him to throw. Well, if you're looking at that in the end zone, no wonder you couldn't find anybody to throw to.
Yeah, when you're growing up as a kid, you don't play catch a lot with a dog.
Not unless your dog is awful talented.
Well, an injured player down on the field. Rob Burnett, the Pro Bowler out of Syracuse. He led the team with 10 sacks last season, 6th best in the AFC, and over the last 3 years he has 28 sacks for the Cleveland defense.
Wow. Clay Matthews would be happy. He would know that his jersey is being done justice in Cleveland today. Let's check him out, number 90. Let's see what happens. He's getting the push there, working on Moore. Right there, he kind of stepped forward prematurely. Looks as though he hyperextended that knee a little bit. We don't want to speculate, but that looks like what happened.
Well, a 4th down for Dilfer and the Buccaneers. 4th and 11. Dilfer has set career highs today in completions, attempts, and yards. 20 of 36, 255 yards, a pair of interceptions. clock. Plenty of time. And here they come. Dilfer smothered by the Cleveland defense. 7th sack today by the Browns D after not getting to Drew Bledsoe one time last week at New England.
Looked like a pack of dogs fighting over chicken bone, boy, I tell you. Once again, the corner blitz, the safety blitz is bringing those guys up there. You're not used to seeing them. Right here closest to you, Stephon Moore. He's going to come down and go. He's a safety. Jacobs comes on the other side, and all the defense is doing is betting that you can't see the voided areas in time before they can sack you.
And stripes based in Pompano Beach, Florida. And at the controls is Captain Charles Russell from Downey, California. A beautiful day along Lake Erie, Cleveland, Ohio. 70-year-old Art Modell dropped out of high school at the age of 15 to help his financially strapped family after the death of his father, and he is absolutely thoroughly consumed with his Cleveland Browns reaching a Super Bowl, something they have never done. His Browns will go to 1-1 this season. And maybe to some extent, Ron, sweet revenge for Vinny Testaverde. He holds every Tampa Bay Buccaneer passing record, completions, yards, touchdowns. The 86 Heisman Trophy winner out of Miami, the first pick in the 87 draft by Tampa Bay. He was signed as an unrestricted free agent in '93 after 6 years with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay has got to feel good about going back to Tampa Bay next week 1-1. You know, I think talking to the guys last week was a situation where they knew they had played a good game, but they weren't quite sure how good Philly was. But they knew today they would face a good team.
And this has not been a case. Some may read the score in the paper tomorrow, 22-6, and think Cleveland came out here and dominated the Buccaneers.
Exactly.
Nothing could have been further from the truth.
Exactly. I think Trent Dilfer stepped up. He performed when he had to perform. He moved the team down the field. And if you avoid the big plays on defense, the defense did well too, especially in the goal line.
Well, that man right there, Keenan McCardle, after the injury to Michael Jackson before the game, McCardle stepped up and played a big role. 6 catches, 79 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Keenan McCardle, our Miller Lite player of the game.
And now the question is, what's going on in Andre Rison's head? Okay, Jackson goes out. Rison is supposed to be the go-to guy now. He's not again for the second week in a row.
Well, he was third in line today after McCardle and Derek Alexander.
Looking at Rison, he looks happy, but I would bet in the next couple weeks, if he doesn't start getting some more balls, you're going to start seeing something come out of his mouth.
Well, Trent Dilfer, certainly a maturing process for him. He performed very well under enormous pressure from the Cleveland defense. And Sam Weiss, well, he told us this guy's going to be a good one. And I think we saw a little bit of that here today. Again, the post-game report coming up next. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy with all the scores and highlights, telling you what else is going on around the NFL.
But, you know, in all fairness to the folks down in Tampa Bay, that's a different Vinny Testaverde than it was when he was down there. Okay, yeah, he's got a little bit more protection, but he's got a chance to mature too, and that's what it's all about.
You know, we mentioned earlier, I mean, in all fairness to Testaverde, he couldn't get a break in Tampa.
Yeah.
Now, for Ron Pitts, I'm Thom Brennaman saying so long from Cleveland Stadium, where the final score is 22-6. Coming up next, the post-game show. That's next after this message from your local Fox station.